Okay, free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, orientations, denominations, educations. Screwed up the order, but hey, you know who you are. Welcome to the Radical Independent. I'm Dave, and you're radical and independent if you're watching this channel. Consider yourself a free radical. Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang teeter on the debate bubble. Sorry, we got ads popping up, of course, on Politico, because that's how they pay for their wonderful, just smartly written articles. Articles that are typically aimed at disparaging Tulsi Gabbard, finding fault with her campaign, and all that good stuff. So this article not only is trying to paint the picture that, oh no, these two candidates are on the fringe. Okay, that's the narrative. We've seen it before. In fact, this narrative has been going on since Tulsi Gabbard declared her candidacy. Now we got Andrew Yang in on this because, hey, the Yang gang, they're a problem too. They need to go away. Clear the decks for Tom Steyer, who, yes, will be on the debate stage. Again, folks, I hate to tell you I was right about Steyer, and I'm equally concerned about Michael Bloomberg, who is bypassing this entire debate process. If you live in a state that has, a lot of delegates at stake, you're probably already being inundated with advertising from Michael Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg doesn't need to go to the debates, all right? And the debates actually would be an opportunity for a Tulsi Gabbard or an Andrew Yang to challenge a guy like Bloomberg, but they won't get that opportunity. It's very stealthy. It's very Hillary-esque, all right? Because Hillary, will schedule the debates Sunday night opposite the Super Bowl, and nobody watches. Nobody even knows the debate is on. So anyway, they say the two outsider candidates are just shy of the polling threshold. Actually, Tulsi Gabbard had this little Boston Globe, Suffolk University poll come out where she was at 6% in New Hampshire. 6%. She's already met the fundraising goals, so she's not having trouble bringing money in. And Andrew Yang, I think he raised like $500,000 in one day or something, so he's not really having a lot of trouble with fundraising either. Tulsi and Andrew could get more airtime than ever. Who needs this kind of airtime when you have independent media like yours truly and other channels that are devoted to actually having a dialogue about issues rather than gotcha soundbite moments, which certainly, hey, I want to know how my president is going to handle a gotcha soundbite. Because if he can't do the gotcha soundbite thing, then he can't or she can't be president. Yeah, that's how we've been electing presidents now for quite some time. And look, a debate, like the Lincoln Douglas kind of sit down where they talk it out. This isn't that. This is as far away from that as humanly imaginable. Right now, 6 candidates, 4 white men and 2 white women. Ooh, so is Politico calling racism here? No, well, it's like you got to qualify, right? No Cory Booker, right? And Kamala dropped out, so that's not, anyone's fault other than Kamala. She could have stayed in, but she decided to drop out. But I don't know if she would have made the polling threshold. This is just a crazy article. All right, and for a number of reasons. So, the debate is scheduled on December 19th. So you got 2 weeks from today that debate will take place. And on the stage, Joe Biden, of course, Mayor Pete, Amy Klobachar is on the stage, but Tulsi and Yang aren't on the stage yet. Bernie Sanders, thankfully, is on the stage. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, Tom Steyer. I told you about Tom Steyer. I warned everybody about Tom Steyer. I had somebody thank me on Twitter just as far as making people aware of Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer is the junior Bloomberg, and he got an earlier start, and he's fundraising like crazy. He's taking donations from regular people. He's not just doing the corporate thing. See, Steyer will do both. He's that much of a corporatist that he'll not only take your money, but he'll spend his money to take your money. So he'll throw out all of this advertising that he's paying for in order for you to give a buck to his campaign, and he's trolling Facebook relentlessly. I don't go on Facebook very much at all. Someday I'm going to just delete my Facebook account. I don't know when that will be, but it's going to happen. And of course, Elizabeth Warren is on the stage, who I believe is in a major decline. The media won't tell you that. A lot of observers just think she's right up there with, Joe Biden or whatever. No, she's not. I think Mayor Pete is in the process of taking over for Elizabeth Warren. And the fact that Steyer is on the stage, then he becomes the alternative to Biden, who's obviously got cognitive difficulties, and Buttigieg, who just is a train wreck of a candidate, especially when it comes to minority voters. But, out of everybody who's on the stage, Bernie appeals the most to minorities, and then probably Biden. So, I don't know, Tom Steyer, if he's going to appeal to the black and brown communities, don't know. Gabbard and Yang are not among them, with only 1 week left before qualification closes. Now, this gets even more interesting. For both Gabbard and Yang, being excluded from the debate stage could starve their long shot campaigns. Okay, so Amy Klobuchar isn't running a long shot campaign right now. Is Tom Steyer running a long shot campaign? See how things start to slowly tilt in the direction that you fear it would tilt in? So clearly they're just saying, look, Gabbard and Yang, long shots, but not Steyer, not Klobuchar. So anyway, it helps them. They're basically saying the oxygen deprivation here, which has helped sustain their small dollar fundraising. What? Small dollar? It's funny because they've qualified, both of them have qualified, they've met the DNC qualifications. Andrew Yang had a day last week or something where he raised like $750,000 in one day. You think that's small dollar fundraising? Wow. See, these people, they sit around and they create a narrative. And I'm not even sure they know that they're creating a narrative. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that the writers at these neoliberal establishment papers, they just don't wake up in the morning and think like you and I. They think differently. They want to cover Gabbard and Yang, and they do it from the perspective of a Joe Biden supporter or a Tom Steyer supporter. Well, those long shots, they're going to have trouble now because it's getting more difficult to fundraise, and we know that Tom Steyer is a fundraising machine. Now imagine if Bloomberg said, I'm going to get into these debates. Bloomberg could spend endless amounts of his own money to raise money from just ordinary citizens. And he'd get huge contributions from corporations and so forth, which, again, he's trying to kind of navigate around that. So he can say, look, I self-financed, and I'm keeping money out of politics. I'm just putting my money in. So what's wrong with that? And a lot of Americans are going to say, hey, at least he's spending his own money. They did it with Trump, too. They said, hey, he's not going to take a salary. He's spending his own money. Trump is fundraising right now. As far as I know, I've read some articles, and Trump is fundraising at record levels right now because of this, because of this train wreck. But if one or both qualify, they are likely to get greater shares of the speaking time. Really? Don't think so. They could still ask the questions to whoever they want to. You would think they would get more speaking time, but don't know if that's going to be true. And see, this is why the DNC, I told you, when they started to sort of winnow the candidates down, that it would be more difficult for a Tulsi Gabbard, or in this case, an Andrew Yang as well, to be on the debate stage, because they don't want to give these candidates exposure. Remember the last Politico article about Tulsi Gabbard? The establishment is getting really fed up with Tulsi. And they're getting so fed up that they're not counting reputable polls. The largest newspaper in New Hampshire, which happens to be the Boston Globe. It's not the Union Leader, it's actually the Globe. It's got a wider distribution out there, and guess what? Poll doesn't count. Their fates, however, are stuck in suspended animation. This is just peachy keen convenient, isn't it? Since the previous debate on November 20th, there have been only 2 polls conducted by sponsors approved by the DNC. A drought deepened by the Thanksgiving holiday. Oh, so you can blame Thanksgiving. Wouldn't Thanksgiving, especially, I mean, I know you got Black Friday and the consumer culture and everything else, but I think the days leading up to Thanksgiving would be a perfect time. I know some people are traveling. Still be a good time to give people a call. The Saturday and Sunday after Black Friday and Thanksgiving, I think people at that point might be hanging out with family. The phone will ring, and then somebody can answer the poll. Pollsters typically go dark rather than trying to call traveling Americans. Awesome. So, again, the excuses pile up as to why these polls aren't being done. They're just literally not doing polls. By the way, this is why Tulsi got excluded from, what was it, the 3rd debate? Because they weren't conducting polls. Candidates can qualify for the December debate stage by hitting 4% in 4 polls approved by the DNC, or 6% in 2 approved early state polls, and having 200,000 unique contributors with 800 in 20 different states. Candidates' qualifications are based off of Politico's tracking of public polling and donor counts. Qualification is not official until confirmed by the DNC after the deadline to qualify has passed. Gabbard and Yang have already cleared the fundraising threshold. So, again, they're contradicting themselves in their article. They said earlier that they're just getting small fundraising. So if they're qualifying for the threshold that the DNC set forth, then I don't think they're small time. I mean, they're doing what the DNC wants them to do, and typically when Tulsi Gabbard goes up against the establishment, those donations go way up. And all Andrew Yang has to do is ask, and the Yang gang comes through, as Donald Trump would say, bigly, okay? So here they have until 11:59 p.m. on December 12th to get the 4th qualifying poll needed to make the debate stage. So they got a week left. A week left. Yang in particular has come tantalizingly close to qualifying for the December debate. He's hit 3% in 11 different approved polls, but both nationally and in early states, leaving him in some cases just a couple of poll respondents away from that elusive 4th poll. Gabbard recently cried foul after she hit 6% in a New Hampshire poll released by the Boston Globe and Suffolk University, arguing it should qualify her for the debate. The campaign argued that the DNC should recognize the poll because other Suffolk polls, when conducted in conjunction with USA Today, count toward qualifying. But previous Boston Globe Suffolk University polls have not counted toward qualification for the 5 previous debates, and the DNC has not given any public indication that it was considering otherwise. Several other active candidates are also expected to miss the December debate. Senator Cory Booker, who has passed the donor threshold, Didn't he win the last debate? Online, there was a bunch of different news outlets that said, oh, Cory Booker just did awesome in the last debate. Well, if he did, it's not translating to, support. At least people aren't saying they want to vote for Cory Booker. He hasn't hit 4% in a single December qualifying poll. Is there anything about... All right, Julian Castro. Castro said he was just shy of the donor mark, but he's unlikely to hit the polling threshold. He hasn't scored higher than 2%. The two late entrants into the race, Mike Bloomberg and Deval Patrick, are virtually certain to be excluded. Patrick has registered at 0% in the 3 polls in which he's been included. As an upstart candidate with a small national footprint before his launch, Patrick is likely nowhere near the requisite number of donors. Bloomberg, meanwhile, functionally ruled himself out. See, I told you about this. But he also has not broken 4% in the limited amount of polling since he joined the race. Watch that change, though. 3 other candidates who are still in the race, Michael Bennet, Rep. John Delaney, and Marianne Williamson, have not participated in any sanctioned debates since the first 2 rounds held over the summer, and are miles away from clearing the thresholds to return to the debate stage. All right, so you get the picture. The article, again, it's how they frame this. These guys are right on the cusp, but they're holding on for dear life. And these are 2 candidates that have so much buzz around the internet. This isn't just me making it up because obviously I'm biased, but you see it on Twitter, you see it all over the place, the enthusiasm for both Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. And by the way, Yang supporters, for the most part, they respect Tulsi Gabbard and vice versa. So, I mean, this is the way politics should be, where you've got 2 candidates with unique perspectives who bring something different to the debate stage. And quite honestly, we're a couple weeks out, actually only 1 week away from their exclusion from the next debate. And again, the debates are not the end of the world, because otherwise Michael Bloomberg wouldn't be running for president right now. He knows that he can just talk to people directly, do his advertising. He'll probably pay for a fireside chat or something right before the Super Bowl. You don't put it past him. He's got that kind of money. He's got corporate power to actually create a brand that is him. And nobody will know what the brand stands for, but they'll know that they know that the brand doesn't like 7-Eleven, okay, or Big Gulps. But they will know that it's Michael Bloomberg and he's running to beat Donald Trump. That's all they'll know. And there are some lemmings all over the country who will sit there and go, yep, I like the fact that he's got unlimited money and he's going to try to just, circumvent the entire process. Whereas Tulsi Gabbard has worked her butt off in states like New Hampshire and Iowa, going out to California. I think she's gone to South Carolina and Nevada. She has just run a great, lean, mean ground game. But what we're seeing now is the result of the corpratocracy. Corporatists, however you want to call it. They are on the verge of just getting rid of these pesky outsider candidates who actually have lots of grassroots support and a ton of internet enthusiasm. So we'll see how it goes. My guess is that there's a good chance that neither one of these 2 will be in the next debate, because Politico, in their last article, declared that the establishment has had enough, at least with Tulsi. It'd be interesting, maybe Yang will get in and Tulsi won't, or vice versa. But they're trying, the DNC at this point wants to just winnow these candidates down so they can force you to choose, the lesser of the evils. You've got Bernie on stage still. And let's not discount that. Bernie Sanders will be the standard bearer for any independent ideas and thought if he's the only one up there who's not a corporate clone of the other person who's next to him. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of, getting more ideas on stage and not fewer. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch this because honestly, the entire thing is corrupt. And I wish these two would just, if they don't make it for whatever reason, again, I say progressive media, independent media out there, you need to sponsor a debate. There are plenty of people. You had, who else? Julian Castro. You had a lot of these people who, Cory Booker, have all these, invite them all in and say, hey, we're going to do our own separate debate. I'm wondering, though, if the corporatists that don't make it would bow out of that because they don't want to be associated with the crazy independents like myself who believe in democracy and want to go around the dog and pony show. I bet you they would probably say, no thanks. So fine, have Tulsi, Andrew Yang, Marianne Williamson, whoever else wants to be in, John Delaney, whoever wants to be in, have them on the stage and create another stage and just talk and have them debate with one another. It would be far more entertaining than these dumb PBS moderator questions, which are all going to be probably about impeachment or something ridiculous, which, again, isn't going to move the needle for the average voter. In fact, if it's too Trump-focused, you're just driving more people back to Donald Trump, and you're ensuring he gets elected in 2020. So there you go. That's it. Done. See you soon.